I'm not from the States. I come from Venezuela.
More coming up over there. Okay. Let the black fly in.
I think they've seen all of us.
No, but you can say it once you're in the thing. I'll come out with you push up.
Let's get over there to your right.
Yeah, let them in.
No, we'll be nice. Why don't we just go to the window?
Act like a lady.
Why don't we go?
All right, and here we are. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
So,
Right.
first of all, Eve, I'm so happy that you could make it.
I'm happy as well. Yeah.
As far as I understood, in Montreal, there are huge snowstorms and everything. The weather is the worst you can imagine. You were one of the only one who were having power in your neighborhood.
I mean, it was a crazy week. We had a huge ice storm in Montreal and in all the province of Quebec. So yeah, so we were about almost 1 million people didn't have any electricity and whatnot. So I was lucky to have power. I think we lost power for about 2 hours, but then it was all good. But yeah, it was something else. Yeah.
All right. And we are also having a new face up here, which I'm very, very happy that he could make it. He's having a soul channel, not just soul, Latin, salsa. You do reggae, you do many things for a couple of years. So Lawrence is our special guest today, as John had a last-minute emergency, I think, in the pub. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll try my best to be to give the John 6-inch pianist charm. I don't know if I will, but I'll try what I can.
Yeah, we're all back together in May, and Lawrence, thanks so much for taking this journey with us today. So very happy about that. All right, today's topic was one record from Philadelphia International, a 12-inch single, and a record we recommend. Where I heard backstage that you have more than one, so we might get into that. Hello, Chance from Concert Buddy, thanks for joining. And yeah, I think let's do it like the last time. So everybody is showing one record, talking a little bit about it, and see how it turns out.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So Lawrence, would you like to start? I make you big.
Okay, all right. So, it's hard doing this live. So a Philadelphia international record. It was quite difficult. I thought I could just go for some OJs, some nice, easy stuff. And I do like a bit of that. But I thought I'd go for something well-known, maybe not totally well-known. It is cheating a bit because it's not actually on the Philadelphia international label. It's on the Sound of Philadelphia. Where am I looking at? TSOP, it's upside down, which was an affiliate label, but it's still the same people, Gamble and Huff. And here is, if I can move it correctly, there we go, Gene Khan. Now, this is a great album in parts, not always. The one I really wanted is the one with Don't Let It Go to Your Head, which is classic. I've got the single of that, but I haven't got the album. But I do have this one. And what I love about it are the two songs at the start of each side. Bet Your Lucky Star on the first side, and we've got Some Catching Up to Do. Both sort of classic, really that Philly sound when it gets really groovy, and but such lush, rich production at the same time. I really like this. I was just having a listen to it again yesterday. She does a lot of sort of ballads and things which are nice, but it's those kind of mellow, groovy, really classic Philly sound that gets on this album, which I really love. So that's my recommendation there for that one.
What's your favorite track on that record?
Yeah, I'd say probably Bet Your Lucky Stars, or okay. I think the reason I got this, which is We Got Some Catching Up to Do, which that's my favorite. I think, yeah, we got some catching up to do. Yeah. That's a nice
Jean Carn is great. She had she made that way from the 70s up to the 80s. She's one of the
few. Because I think she started out with doing like the jazz albums, Black Jazz, that label with Doug Carr, and
with her husband,
and that's it was very different. But then when I think of her, obviously I associate it with Philadelphia more than anything, and that's very much more of a sort of lush, rich thing. But I didn't get this album that long ago, but I really like it. It's got some great stuff on it. So yeah.
So great choice. Are you familiar with Jean Carn? Do you know
not much. The track you mentioned sounds a bell, but I'm not very familiar with that artist.
Yeah, I think her most famous one is Don't Let It Go to Your Head, and that's just absolute classic. And for me, it's like the epitome of the Philadelphia sound, because it's so complex and so simple and so groovy at the same time. It's just brilliant, that song. But yeah, I don't have the album with that one, sadly.
Oh, Ian. Ian? Yes, he's special guest, Lawrence. I'll show the link to his channel in a couple of seconds. John had a family emergency, and I know he will be watching later on. And Lawrence was right on spot. So and he's
they needed a replacement English guy, I think. So here I am.
All right. So yeah, we are trying to get this, and as usually, I'm trying my best to get that to you guys now.
Nice.
There's been no need for celebration. All of this time that we stayed apart, but with the end of our separation, I can't hide the joy I feel inside my heart. The love that we both thought had died, it's still going strong. I can hardly wait till we get home. We got some catching up to do, a lot of lost time to make up for, and that's for sure. It's so good to be back with you, such a warm and tender feeling is what you're bringing. And I don't ever want to lose your love again. I know we can be together forever.
All right. What we've learned from the last streams is that we need to pause after a certain amount of time, otherwise we get suspended.
Unfortunately.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. That was a good long sample of it. I think you get the taste.
The first stream, John was stuck in the pub. The second stream, we got suspended.
Okay.
So it was quite a journey.
Yeah, I always put sound on my videos, and I've never had any problems.
Mm.
Apart from one time when it wouldn't upload once, I think, because they said I couldn't use that song. But of all the videos I've done, never really had any problems. Apart from you get banned in weird countries like North Korea and stuff like that. But yeah. So
No, I always have problems with my videos as I'm doing needle drops, and then I make 10 seconds, 8 seconds, and it's just horrible.
yeah.
Eva's also you're having monthly streams, right?
Yes, I do with my good friends Michael, DJ Funk, and Mikey, the Big Yellow Rebel. Yeah, we do. We haven't done any live streams for a couple of months because we're all busy. But yeah, we do. We do a video, like a monthly video on mostly R&B soul, but not only R&B and R&B soul, but on music in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I put the link to her channel here in the comments. She has a great channel. Eve, I'm so eager.
Oh my God.
You have such a great taste in music.
I'm mostly modern, contemporary R&B and soul when it comes to my collection. But hey, I've picked up, I guess, one of the best-selling acts of the Philadelphia international label. He's one of my favorite male vocalists when it comes to soul music. He was wonderful. I mean, the panty dropper, as I call him. And well, all right, let me show maybe my favorite album by this artist, and it is Teddy Pendergrass. I mean, this album TP from 1980. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful album. And it features I think my favorite track by Teddy Pendergrass, which is actually a cover of Ashford and Simpson.
Is it still good to you?
Exactly.
Yes, it's also my favorite. Oh,
yes. Is it still good to use my favorite?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just the way he sings it, his vocals, his intensity. I mean, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful track, and very nice record, because we not only we have "Is It Still Good to You," but "Take Me in Your Arms Tonight," "Love TKO," "Field of Fire," which is a duet with Stephanie Mills, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I Just Called to Say, yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful album, man. I mean, Gamble and what Gamble and Huff. I mean, amazing producers. I mean, hey, it's Teddy Pendergrass, man. He was one of the great soul vocalists. Unfortunately, his accident in the 80s, I mean, change a lot of things in his career when it comes to his career. But I mean, his albums in the late 70s, this one I loved. The other one just that he released before in 79, Teddy, is very good as well. Yeah, this one here is very good. I mean, the side one is just perfect in my opinion. Perfect love songs. I mean, Come Go With Me, Turn Off the Lights, I'll Never See Heaven Again. If You Know What I Know. I mean, hey, you cannot go wrong with Teddy Pendergrass.
No, that Teddy album, it's just like a greatest hits album in a way.
Exactly.
Every song is like, oh wow.
Exactly.
Wow. So it's great, that one.
Yeah, beautiful, great artist. I mean, great artist. So
he still did some quite good stuff in the 90s. I remember when I was sort of listening to more R&B. Then he had like one really big hit. I remember, "Believe in Love," and that was a nice one as well. So
yeah, great.
Oh yeah, I love Teddy, and these albums are also still very affordable.
Very affordable. I mean, the Teddy one, sometimes you may find it a bit expensive, like on Discogs, for example. But I mean, all these other ones, TP and whatnot, these albums from the 70s and early 80s are pretty available. Yeah.
And I think in house music and vocal house music is one also featuring with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, one of the most sampled artists ever. I hear so many different versions of The Lover Lost. It's unbelievable. So Teddy is huge. That's a great selection.
Huge.
There are hardly any reissues of his albums. Am I correct? I haven't seen any reissues.
Me neither. I've seen an album. I think it was released last year. It was a kind of live compilation that they reissued, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, when it comes to his discography, I don't see. You're right about that. Yeah, you're right.
So
quite a lot of the Philadelphia albums don't seem to get much represses or sort of fancy re-editions or anything like that.
Yeah,
don't think.
Yeah.
Eve pointed out to me that Vinyl Me Please is doing a reissue of the First Choice.
First Choice, yeah.
That's one of the first reissues I have ever seen. I think South Soul is doing some reissues with them, but that's just really it concerning that. So,
yeah.
What song do you want me to play from Teddy?
Well, hey, is it still good to you? I mean, that's yeah.
I know exactly what you mean, and I found the live version. So let's.
It's been a long time since you touched me and made me feel that wonderful glow. The way you do. It's been a long time since you held me, squeezed me, so I wonder what's come over you. I don't know if I ought to bring it up. It seems like such a funny thing to talk about. I don't know if it's right to do, but I got nowhere to turn to. And I'm up against the wall. I want to know. Oh, I got to know. Is it still good to you? Does it feel alright? Oh, is it still good to you? Will you prove it tonight?
All right, sorry, Teddy. And that was live. I mean, that was live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a voice. That's for sure.
Oh my God. And he was a ladies' man, I tell you that.
Yep.
Well, it's funny that you chose a live concert there because he's famous for his ladies-only concerts.
Yes.
Wasn't he? So
I think he was the first one who ever did this, way before the Chippendales did that.
Before the Chippendales.
Yeah.
All right, I'm happy that no one of you had that album. What I'm presenting, Dexter Wenzel, live on Mars. So how do I make myself big here? Dexter Wenzel, absolutely stunning, fantastic Philadelphia international artist, and he's still around and he's still doing music. And this came out in 1976, and it was one of the first space funk soul albums. It has the space theme, which came up by the mid-70s. And this, what you see here is the connection between, I think, a supermarket or somewhere in LA. And this connection between two buildings has been used many times on covers. Also, there's one picture of Michael Jackson being in that hallway between, I think, a supermarket and a garage. I was in LA, just to point that out. So Live on Mars from Dexter Wenzel is, one of my favorites. So you're quiet, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
You're
a great album, that one.
I'm not familiar with that album. So
you get some BTLTs from me, Eve. You get. I'm preparing a package for you.
It's quite a dance floor one, right? It's quite four to the floor all the way through, isn't it? Yeah.
From the beginning to the end. So I would like to play Live on Mars, and it was a couple of years later in '78. Motown picked up the same topic, so it was quite huge at that time to make these space-themed music where you have these kind of space sounds in it, which were used very often in the late '70s on some songs. And right at he wrote, of course, Nights Over Egypt. Or
That's
Jones.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hit. Yes, Doc, that's signed.
Of course,
it's getting a running joke.
Of course it is.
It's a running joke. All right, so let's see. I make myself small again, and I would say let's have a listen to Live on Mars. All right. And that's how the whole album is. I've heard that there are some reissues up which have some sound issues. I don't know. So
it's quite an expensive one to get here. I saw it a few months ago in a shop. It was a bit of a knackered copy, and I think it was over £30 they were asking for it. So it's not an easy one to find, I don't think.
I'm showing you how beaten up my version is, and it wasn't cheap either. Here you can see it on the top. It's it was totally beaten up version, and it wasn't a cheap one, even at that time. So yeah, Lawrence, how are the vinyl prices are in the UK?
Well, in listening and watching videos from other people in the UK who live outside London, if you're very clever and get up very early for car boot sales and charity shops, you can get some really good deals. But here in London, it's pretty expensive. I mean, depends where you go. John, he did a video the other day because he'd been to London, and he was talking about some of the shops he'd been to, and there are some really good shops which are very expensive, but that's because they have very rare records. But there are some decent ones. But I think a lot of places I go, you'll see they'll work their pricing out according to Discogs, which is not always the best guide. I don't think it tends to be a bit inflated. So like really killer deals. Occasionally, there's a few places I know who take a bit more of an old school approach to deciding their prices, and it feels a bit better that way. But yeah, it's not cheap, and I mean, since I really got back into records, which is in the last 10 years or so, it's astonishing to see how it's changed even in the last few years, and different types of music which were before very cheap suddenly be getting really expensive. So yeah, it's not a cheap hobby really.
Oh, not anymore. Yeah.
No. And then obviously with new records, that's really expensive now. You definitely notice that. Yeah.
John Moreno is asking if you can show a Latin record.
Can I show one? I could show one, but it'd be too difficult to choose. Got quite a few now.
Make a selection. Come on, for John.
Make a selection.
John Moreno.
Here. A nice one. Oh, there's a really good one. And since we're on soul and disco, this is Azuquita y su Orquesta. This album is really good. Very funky. Got lots of break beats on it. And he's done quite a few albums, this guy. He was quite big, but proper Latin albums. But this is a really good funk album as well. So it's got Latin bits and funky bits as well. So there you go. First one pulled off the shelf. That's a nice one. Quite a cool cover as well. That's on Via. Nice. This one for you.
What's this box supposed to mean on the cover?
This is supposed to be a box of
sugar.
I think something like that is what it says. Well, it says salsa recipe on the back. I think what it might be is like flour for making like peppers or something like that. Some sort of dish. But yeah, all done up with Azuquita's name.
Doc, that's a good question. What's the most you have paid for a record, Lawrence?
Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I once paid £70 for a record. That's the most I've ever paid.
Okay, I'm very quiet now with this.
£70?
70, yeah. Which I think I'd probably, the blood rushed to my head in the moment, and I did that, and I don't regret it. So that was all right. It's given me £70 worth of pleasure.
Was it for a used album, or
it was a used record. It was not in very good condition, but it was nice, and it was not an album that I was ever likely to see again. So
okay.
I got it.
So now we are eager to know what this album is.
Yeah, I don't know I think, is it here? Or if I got it next door? It's in there somewhere, and it doesn't look very exciting because it doesn't even have a cover, but it was a reggae album.
Okay.
But it's quite a soulful one by an artist called T.T. Ross. And it doesn't have a cover or anything, but it's got some really nice versions of soul and disco songs. A really good version of More, More, More by Andrea True Connection.
Oh, more.
Sadly, it's not on YouTube either, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, so that was a nice record. And I think I probably spent a bit too much on it, but what can you do? Like I said, it was one of those records I didn't think I'd ever see ever again. So there it is. How about you guys? Or you're not willing to say?
How about you?
Oh my God. I think it was for a jazz album, a jazz reissue. I paid maybe, I don't know, 125 or 130 Canadian. Do I have it there? Let me see.
I don't feel too bad now.
No, there's no need for you to feel bad at all.
Yeah, it's can't find it. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it.
That was a really quick. We can't find the record.
A jazz reissue, yeah, like an audiophile jazz reissue, whatever. Yeah. And That's about it.
But do you when you listen to it, do you feel it's worth it? You don't feel bad about spending that much money on it?
I do a bit.
Okay, yeah, because I've got loads where I've spent loads, and I've got a few where I've spent a bit, and I think, oh, I didn't enjoy it.
It was early in when I started collecting, you know, and you know, I guess I fall for the hype and you know the mofo and the FOMO. How do you say that? FOMO, mofo, the fear of missing out. That
Missing out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So I rarely do that now. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember once the first time that Records Day, Records Day, I decided I was going to go. I remember getting quite excited about it and like not being able to sleep the night before properly and waking up with anxiety that I wouldn't get anything I wanted.
But
and I got up at the crack of dawn and waited in the cold, and it was very
did
underwhelming.
spend quite a lot, about maybe like, how much was it? I think it was about £50 or for it's a new album, a new band called Salt. I don't know if you ever heard of
Oh
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
So they have a lot of albums.
Mhm.
And you know, yeah, when you're
I got that one. Yeah, that's
when
a
you're
lovely.
Canadian and you have to spend they're quite expensive. They're quite
Yeah, I mean,
but they're very good. It's a very good band.
yeah, no, that's a great album. But yeah, because when I used to buy a lot more R&B records back when I was a teenager, you had to pay imports. You could only get imports, a lot of them, so that was really expensive. So,
yeah,
it's the other way around for you. Then you have to pay the import prices for Salt.
exactly. So it becomes quite expensive, but it's a very, very good band, Salt. I mean,
yeah, no.
I have most of their albums. I mean, they released like four new ones like a few months ago.
That's my only criticism, really. They have too many albums. It's too hard to keep up.
Oh my God.
then it gets expensive.
Yeah.
But no, really nice.
Some earworms this week.
Earworms.
Oh. What did I listen to this week? Nothing in particular.
Mine was In the Bush by Mystique. In the Bush, which was it was in the 70s. Disco song was in the bush, and that was the thing that was in my mind all the time.
Nice. I don't know, because I've got my music, the record players in the next door room. I've got the records I've been listening to there right now, and I can't for the life of me remember any of them. My mind's gone completely blank.
All right. So I got all of the question, you know, guys, how much we spend on records. I got very charming out of that way.
Okay.
But I'm as for my recommendation, I have a higher price record, but you get the reissue relatively cheap. But I'm sure this record, because I think it's such a great record. And do we start with the 12 inches?
As you like, Nadine, if you want, yeah.
Yeah. Eve, do you start this time? I'll make you big.
All right. Well, I've decided to show a 12-inch. It's actually a track that my brothers used to play a lot back in the day. It was released in 1990, if I'm not mistaken. Great track, very danceable. I mean, kind of R&B house, and it was released on the debut album of a trio, three ladies from New Jersey, and the band is called Jomanda, and the track is called "Got a Love for You." So I don't know if you're familiar with this one, guys. I mean, when house music was pretty big in the early 90s, this one was a very, very cool track. Yeah, very cool track. So got a love for you, which was, like I said, featured on their debut album called what's it called? Someone to Love, was released in 1990. Then they released another album after that called Nubia Soul, which was a little bit more R&B than this one. This one was a bit more a house. but yeah, still very, very, very nice track. Got a love for you. Yeah,
I
but
absolutely.
yeah, I believe this lady was the lead singer, and she passed away in early 2000s. She had cancer.
Oh,
But yeah, great band. I mean, their vocals were decent, not the best, R&B vocals out there, but the rhythm, the beats and whatnot. Yeah, very, very nice track.
I don't know that. I don't know that group at all. Actually, is it
no,
early 90s, a bit before?
Early 90s, yeah, early
Yeah.
90s.
they had some great tracks in the early 90s.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And they
this
still, when they still
one,
had them on vinyl.
yeah. Make My Body Rock was another track that was very, very popular. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
All right. Let's hear that. I'm eager to hear that. And also I found,
Welcome once again to another edition of Clever MTV Dance.
yeah, hold on.
First day we met, my heart stood still. I never had a man like you, and I doubt I ever will. So tired of playing all these love games. But since you came into my life, I had to change. Yeah, that's why I'm so glad I found you. When I put my whole world around you. Oh yeah, you're gonna be true, gonna be true. Special, special. Listen, baby. Can you feel it? I'm gonna be true. When you're lonely, I'll be there for you. I'll hug you, kiss you, boy, and make it so much better.
All right, we need to stop, but look at that closest.
Yeah.
I mean,
You get two people in it, I think.
Yeah. This is the 90s, right? Well, it was the 90s.
what a great selection, Eve. I now have to get the album, you know that.
I don't have the studio albums. I only have the 12-inch for this for this one. But yeah, they were very cool. They were very cool back in the day.
Yeah. How did you find it?
I mean, like I said, my brother had this on cassette tape back in the day, and I was at a record store a few years ago, and just found this one. I thought, oh my god, and I bought it. Yeah.
Is it easy to find 12-inch singles nowadays? Are they still affordable? What's your opinion?
In Montreal, it depends. They're getting a bit more expensive than it used to be, but sometimes you can find some great stuff when it comes to 12 inches. But yeah, it's becoming rare in Montreal. Yeah,
I think it depends a lot on the style.
exactly.
Because curiously, like 90s hip hop, the albums are all ridiculously expensive.
God.
But the 12 inches here, you can get for very, very almost nothing. And it's crazy. Like a group like A Tribe Called Quest, if you want to get one of their original LPs, that's going to be really expensive. But the 12 inches, you get for less than £10. And they've got all the good songs there. So it's an interesting. I was talking to a guy who sells records, and I had some stuff to sell. And he said he didn't really want my 12 inches because he couldn't sell them and make it worth it. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, so I just have to. Well, I didn't want to sell them.
Yeah. Some people only collect 12 inches. Some people are really into 12 inches.
Well, I think it's because also that's where you can get the bargains now. Still, a lot of people when they're going to secondhand shops and everything, people just ignore the 12 inches, and you can find some really great. I mean, even I sometimes when I'm in a record shop and I see the soul and funk and boogie 12 inches, I kind of glaze over and think, oh god, I can't bring myself to go through it all. Whereas the albums is a bit more I guess because of the covers, and I don't know, 7 inches I just find completely addictive, the 45s. So that's why I put all my attention, I think.
Yeah. Depending on the artist as well. Some artists do some amazing remixes. I think of Prince, or artists like Madonna as well, Janet Jackson. I mean, they've been releasing 12 inches remixes, and I mean 10, 12-minute tracks. I mean, yeah, it's depending on the artist. It can be pretty interesting to get the 12 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, some artists, they'll always be very collectible, the 12 inches. Like Janet Jackson, like you say, hers are always very collectible because they're nice ones.
Yeah, and also you get different remixes on the 12 inches, which are nowhere else available than on the 12 inches. So that's
true.
Yeah.
So, Lawrence.
Okay. This was the most difficult decision to make because I don't have many 12 inches or sort of sold 12 inches. So I didn't quite know what to go for. And I was thinking of going for one of my horrible bootlegs because I have lots of bootleg 12 inches because sometimes they're the only ones you can get. But I thought I'd keep it legit. And I'm actually going to show 3 12 inches by the same artist. And they're all about to be re-released. And the artist is, there he is, Lewis Taylor. And these are the 12 inches from his first album, which is called Lewis Taylor, which has just been re-released as well. And he was an artist in sort of about 1997. He came out with his first album, and he's a British guy making very soulful music with a mix of other sort of pop and rock sounds. And he's having a bit of a renaissance at the moment because all of his music is being re-released on vinyl, which is great because his first album came out on vinyl, which I've got, but is not very good quality pressing. And now they've got these new ones. And they're releasing a compilation which includes a lot of the B-sides on here. And that's what I was going to say with 12 inches, what you were saying. You get songs on the 12 inch that you don't get anywhere else. And these all have really great, very experimental, slightly weird B-sides, but they stand up a lot. And he's got a fantastic voice, very much sort of, I think he's very heavily influenced by Marvin Gaye and that sort of thing you can hear. But when it's good, the music's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Lewis Taylor. He's always been a favorite of mine.
Okay, I have to admit, I never heard of him. So I'm eager to know.
He was like made a big splash and then just disappeared, sort of. And he had problems with record companies and then a few things. And I don't think he ever became quite. I don't know if he ever became big in the States or anything like that in the same way. I know that he was quite highly regarded by people like D'Angelo and that sort of thing, and they were supposedly going to work together at some point, but I don't think they did. Wow. But yeah, he just released a new album now, which I haven't listened to, I've got to admit. But he's an interesting artist, and I think there's newfound interest in him again now that they're re-releasing a lot of his stuff. But I think for that sort of mid to late 90s, the neo soul, he was very much in that sort of sound, and it stands up really nicely, I think.
Yeah, neo soul is getting a revival. I'm always getting questioned, what's your impression on neo soul? And I'm like, well, hold on a second, I need to look up what it is, or vintage soul. And I said, please, and then I need to call Eve. Vintage soul. So I've learned vintage soul is soul which has been made today, which should sound like the soul from the 60s and the 70s.
Yes.
What's your definition, guys, of neo soul?
With, like you said, with some influences, with some R&B influences, hip hop influences, more contemporary, genre, that gets into the mix. But yeah, but they get the roots in the 60s, 70s soul. Yeah. That's
when they started talking about neo soul, it was sort of around that time, late 90s, and it was a bit of a reaction to mainstream R&B, like Jodeci and that sort of thing, which was all very sort of Loverman sort of thing. And it was taking its nod a bit from the artist before, a bit more funky perhaps. In that. So yeah.
Exactly. And the main artists are Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Jill Scott, Maxwell. Late 90s mostly. Yeah, mid to late 90s. Yeah.
I'm always learning when I'm in the stream. So, Lawrence, someone suggested it was Robert Taylor to play Bittersweet. Are you all right? Okay with that?
I'd say, yeah, give it a go. It's an interesting one, but it's a good one to give you a taste of what he's like. So yeah.
All right.
Bad lover got me sick inside. There ain't no other. Are you satisfied? Oh, people over there talking about me. Don't wanna know the things that they said. Oh yeah, all of my friends have up and left me. Darling, I deserve to wake up dead. If it weren't for how you love me, baby, love me. Bittersweet, got me doing things that I don't wanna do. Bittersweet, 'cause it gets so tough sometimes, baby. Bittersweet, the way you laugh at me when I make love to you. No, I can't stand it, baby. Don't stop. Got me in the mood. Wait a minute, baby.
All right, Lawrence, love it. I love it too.
Yeah, nice.
Very
I've never seen that video before. It's quite interesting. But yeah, that's a good song, and then it builds up the layers and gets even more, a bit more going on. It's really nice one. So yeah, and you can get that now. They just re-released the album. So Lewis Taylor is the name. I think someone's.
Lewis Taylor.
Is he from the UK as well? Oh, okay. Never heard of him. Wow. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Oh, cool.
All right. 12-inch was for me also a little more difficult. I have some disco 12 inches because the mixing and the songs are a little different. But I choose one I love very much, and it has been sampled in house music also many times. And this is Delia Renee. Hold on, I make myself big. This came out in 1981, and it's called "You're Gonna Want Me Back." And this one, she only did that record and disappeared to absolutely nowhere. And this is just an absolute, I just love this track from the beginning to the end. I wish you would have done a whole album. And the house people love Delia. So if someone's out there who knows her, let me know. As you know, I need a signature, of course. I would love to hear her story. So that's also the only picture I found of her is only on this sheet, and the single, which is released, also featured that picture, but there's absolutely no other information about her, and it's a great track.
Wow.
Yes.
So I think disco does that. It just turns up artists who come and disappear just like that. Very obscure artists as well. I'm saying with soul music, I suppose, really as well.
Yeah, and sometimes they were just booked for a session and then they're just gone. And this is, I heard this track and I immediately fell in love with it, and I got this for €5, and it's also a test pressing, and this is just it's awesome.
Cool.
So I'm sure you're gonna love that.
You're gonna want me back, but I won't be around. You're gonna want me back, nowhere to be found. I shared your life and all of your strife. That's what love is all about. Your fantasies, your tragedies, I was there to help you work them out. You're gonna lose everything over some foolish fling. You better think twice before you choose. No one can do.
Okay, I stop it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
And yeah, she only did this one song, and that's it.
Wow.
So if you have the chance, like it was $5. So if you have the chance, get the single. It's tremendously great.
It makes me think of like the Lolita Holloway. It's just that big voice over a disco beat. It's like the template, isn't it? Really
yeah,
nice.
and you know, Lolita Holloway, I always feel a kind of sad because she's one of the most sampled people in house music, and she didn't even get any credit to it. And we had somebody who was mentioning Right on Time. That was also Lolita, and she got messed up with this track big time because they sampled her without asking her because they thought she was dead, and there was a lawsuit and all of this. So she was very bitter about this.
I'm not surprised. There's also, I think, she's always thought of as a disco artist, which but she's an amazing soul singer. Listen to her earlier albums; they're just insane. I mean, she's got a proper voice that's really amazing.
All right, we have some recommendations coming up for the people who are in the gallery, and I'm also eager to hear your recommendations. Eva's always having killer recommendations. I'm always poor when we have streams at the moment, and I'm writing down on it how much I need to spend for her recommendations, but she's really awesome recommendations. So Eve, let's start with your recommendations.
All right, I have two young artists from Philadelphia. Actually, that's why I picked them. I've decided to pick them up to pick these albums and showcase them to you guys. Two young singer-songwriters, female singer-songwriters from Philadelphia. The first one I'll be talking about is she released, in my opinion, one of the best neo soul R&B album that I ever heard. I mean, unfortunately, this album wasn't really didn't have a lot of success, but it was so good, so eclectic. It was released in 2001, and it's the album called How I Do. Unfortunately, I don't have it on physical format. It's been reissued on vinyl, but it's been there's a vinyl release, but there's no reissue, so it's super expensive, and I don't have it on CD as well. But it's called How I Do, and it's one of the best album when it comes to neo soul. Very eclectic with a lot of rock influences, some pop influences as well. And the name of the artist, it's Reese, R-E-S. And the only thing I have of her on vinyl, it's an EP that she released not too long ago. Actually, it was for Record Store Day, I think, in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. She did an EP with some Fleetwood Mac covers. Pretty interesting. She has an incredible voice, great vocals, and very, very talented. It's super underrated. She has released 2 or 3 albums, if I'm not mistaken, but they are not on physical format, unfortunately. But yeah, very, very nice artist to discover. Her name is Reese, R-E-S. Yeah. And check out her album released in 2001 called How I Do. Just unbelievable. Yeah. And this one is pretty cool as well. Nice covers of some Fleetwood Macs. We have Rhiannon, Dreams, The Chain, Little Lies, and the cover of Stevie Nicks' Edge of 17. Pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
Wow, look at that vinyl.
Yeah. So that's Reese.
Reese. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to play us the track How I Do?
If you could play the track called 7 Mile Situation, it's pretty good.
700 Mile Situation?
Exactly. It's pretty good.
Right.
Now for all the times you must go, notice all the things you leave. So what's behind that stare? Am I there with you? And as you turn and walk away, I can't help it, I can't help to feel those instincts that wanna dance with me. Silhouette is painted on the wall. How many times can I say that I miss you? And everybody wants to know what's wrong. It's just a 700-mile situation. Why don't you tell me what you're scared of? You're making me breathe so easy.
How much do I need to pay for an original? An arm and a leg?
I mean, yeah, it's around $200 Canadian.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. But I heard that she maybe she's gonna because I think she's working on getting the rights of this album, and try to get it reissued on vinyl. But yeah, it's such a great album, such a great album. But it did not get the success that it should have. But yeah, she's a great and I don't know if you could play one of the track from this one here, Nadine.
Sure.
The Chain, maybe try to find the Chain. The Chain is yeah, an interesting cover. And she's like I said, she's R&B, she's soul, but she's she likes what music as well. So you can find a lot of rock influences in her music.
Sounded good. Sounded great.
Yeah, she's great vocalist.
What was the album called?
Refried Mac.
Refried.
Refried Mac.
Is it the opposite of frying something?
No, because it was. I think it's because she does a covers of Fleetwood Mac. I think it was
Okay.
a funny title.
Makes sense. Makes totally sense.
Yeah.
All right, and then you want to have me the song
The Chain. Yeah.
The Chain. Yes, I found it. Hold on.
Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise. Run in the shadows, tell me love, tell me lie. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you would never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you would never break the chain.
That's a good point to stop.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Great. She's great.
Nice.
So Ryan is having update via Rest Tonight in Atlanta. There will be no repress of the original album. The files she was given from the label were corrupt. So, and re-recording for oh my God, re-recording, holy.
That would be great. That would be amazing. That would be amazing because yeah, this album has been on my wish list for so long. That would be great. Yeah. it's so unfortunate because like I said, I've heard that she wanted to release it like maybe last year or this year, I don't know, but yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. Yeah.
I guess it'll just be on the long list of lost albums.
Exactly.
There are many, I suppose.
Yeah. But you can still find it on CD. Yeah, it's
Okay.
available on CD. Yeah, it is available on CD. So that was for Reese. Her name is Reese. So yeah, great artist. Do you want me to talk about my other recommendation as well?
Yes, of course. Sure, go ahead.
Another artist that it's still, I mean, she's getting pretty popular nowadays, maybe since last year. I mean, we hear about her a lot more, but in my opinion, she's still very underrated. Another very talented vocalist, singer, songwriter from Philadelphia. She's been around for quite a while because her debut album was released in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. I have it here, and it's Jasmine Sullivan. You probably heard about her. I don't, guys. This is her debut.
I don't know at all.
Fearless, and yeah, I mean, I have her latest album that is the only album that was released on vinyl, if I'm not mistaken, and it's her album released in 2021 called Hotels. Great project, and it's actually an EP. I mean, where she talks about feminism, sexuality, and whatnot. It features a lot of cool artists like you have Ari Lennox, which is another young, very talented artist. What else? The artist called Her. Yeah, it's a very nice project. Great, and she's a powerhouse. Her vocals are amazing. So yeah, this is an artist that's we should definitely check out. If you're not familiar with her music, check her out. Jasmine Sullivan, great artist.
Okay.
I love the cover art. It looks like a side out of a magazine.
Yeah.
And look at that label on the bottom. That looks really cool.
Yeah, beautiful artist, very talented. She has written a lot of tracks for modern artists as well. Yeah, she's very good, very good.
What song do you want me to play?
We could play the song. Let me see, because let me see what we could play. Last one. But there's a live version of it. I don't know if you can find it, Nadine.
I'm trying. Trying to find whatever you want.
Last one live.
Yeah, in Toronto, I think. There are a couple of them. And there's one in Atlanta. You can choose.
I'm not sure which one it is, but I think maybe it's the one in let me see. No, that's not it. There's one. Oh my God. Oh, I think it's the one. Just go up a bit. Go up.
This one?
No.
Oh,
go up.
This one?
No. Yes, this one.
This one? This is not
no, just the one below.
This one. This one. This one.
No. Yes, this one.
Got there in the end.
Yeah.
Know where you lost one. Go where you know where you lost one. Go out and fuck different people to cope and ignore all precautions. And you drink and get faded. You feel like this your only option. And if it's too late, I understand. Sometimes it's too late to make amends. Just hear me out before you let it go. There is one thing I need for you to know. Just don't have too much fun without me. Don't have too much fun. Please don't forget about me.
Okay, I have to stop. I'm always so sorry that I have to ruin the mood.
No, that's a serious voice, man. That's
But
Yeah.
she's wonderful, and even her debut is amazing. I mean, the single "Bust Your Windows" was big, and this one was produced by Missy Elliott. She was under Missy Elliott. She produced most of this album. Was pretty popular, this one, but she's one talented chick that we should mention way more. Yeah, Jasmine Sullivan. Great artist.
Eve, once again, you put the bar up always so high. Awesome. Really awesome.
I mean, we have some talented artists when it comes to contemporary, modern R&B and soul music. I mean, yes. I mean, we have the kings in the 70s, 80s, but I mean, we have some very, very good artists. You know, from the late 90s to the 2000s, we still have very, very talented artists. Yeah, and that's what I like to showcase more, because a lot of people are really focused on 60s, 70s, 80s soul. But me, I love neo soul. I love contemporary R&B from the 90s, and later on. That's what I love, and I like to showcase and whatever.
Yeah. That's we're so happy you are sharing this with us, because you made me aware of so many artists I didn't even heard of, and I'm like, wow, this sounds good and this is great, and music from years I would never have considered even listening to or trying listening to. So
and she won the best R&B the best R&B albums in the 2022 Grammys. So she's a Grammy winner. Yeah, very
deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's good. Definitely.
Lawrence.
Okay. Well, I'm one of those people who's quite guilty of ignoring more recent stuff. I stopped really listening to soul music, contemporary soul music, probably sometime in the mid 2000s, when I sort of stopped really keeping up with new music at all. So I've never quite got back into it. So I'm afraid I'm going to show an old album from the 70s, but there we go. But this is an artist who was more famous as a jazz singer, but she did a couple of albums which I think are really great, really well produced, and nobody really knows about them, and they're not very expensive, which is quite reassuring as well. And the artist here is, you can see that, take that off, Gloria Lynn. She's called. Okay, and this album is one I wanted to show. She does actually have another really good album, which is that one, A Gentle Sound, which is probably even better. That's a great album, but I wanted to focus on this one. She's got quite a sort of husky voice in the sort of Esther Phillips way.
Oh,
but the production is really, really nice, and because she's a jazz singer, she's sort of testing out, trying to do some soul stuff, and I don't think they were very successful records, sadly. So she went back to just doing jazz stuff after that. But there's just some lovely, lush production of that time from the mid, was this late 70s? 76. Yeah, it sounds very much like 1976. And you've got just like nice little wah-wah guitars, those sort of trickling bits of guitar and everything. And she even does she does like a nice little soul version of some of her older jazz songs as well. And there's even quite a good Quiet Storm version of Visions by Stevie Wonder on this one, just looking at the track list. But yeah, I really love this album. Love it so much. I have 2 copies. It's one of my problems. When I really like an album, I always get 2 copies if I can. I don't know why. Kind of like I get nervous if something happens to the other one. But yeah, it's a nice album. I really love that one.
Does she have? Oh, sorry, Nadine.
No, please go ahead, Eve.
Does she have a big discography?
She has a big discography in as much as there's loads of jazz stuff, because I think she started out when she was very young. But these seem to be the only 2 albums that, from what I've flipped through, are really like really nice, because they've got that great sort of production from that time. And Jerry Peters is the arranger on quite a lot of them, and he did lots of great stuff with artists like the Silvers and things like that. So he's when his name's on anything, I always try and give it a listen, check it out. And so he was so that's how I first heard about that first album with the blue cover. But yeah, that one I just investigated, and it turned out to be a nice one. So yeah, definitely.
I think the first one is her most famous solo work.
Yeah, I mean, this one's great because it's got some just some good sort of it sounds a bit nicer. None of the albums are perfect, I should say. They've all got sort of bits in it, like on one side it's a bit plodding, or there's sort of some ballads which sort of outstay their welcome a bit or whatever, but the good bits on all of them are really good, so together they make the perfect LP. But yeah, it's really nice stuff.
Are you one of those collectors who buy 2 copies of an album? One to keep
only on very, very special occasions.
Really? Do you do that on some records? Really? Okay.
Only. I mean, I have to say, I've actually got 2 copies of this one as well. But for most of the time, no. Although if I see an album and it's really good price, and I've got it already, I always think like, oh, I want to buy. I don't know. It's a ridiculous thing, and I have to stop it because I'm running out of space. So that's my thinking. But I like to think that maybe it's an upgrade, so I could get rid of the old copy. That would be the sensible approach. So
yeah, that will save you.
Yeah, that's my excuse. I've just got to get around to it.
All right, which track do you want me to play from Gloria Lynn?
Well, why don't you try on this one, Gloria Lynn, Thank You Early Bird. See if that one should be on YouTube, I think, probably.
All right. Hold on.
People try to tell me love takes time to grow, but they never held you. How in heaven could they know? When I first kissed you and your fingers touched my face, I felt the strangest feeling, like falling straight through space. You're my future, you're my date for life. Thank you, early bird, you're tomorrow's dream, you got here tonight. Thank you, early bird, you're tomorrow's dream, you got here tonight. Like a good book that takes no time to read, the feelings caught between us, the eagerness, the need. I knew you felt the feeling, 'cause I felt the feeling back. You were easier than reading a simple highway map. You're my future, you're my date for life.
All right.
Okay.
It has a Philadelphia International vibe to it.
Yeah, it has that kind of sound. It's got the lots of strings going on, the wah wah guitars. It's yeah, I really love that one. Yeah.
So here we have, look, if I love an album and see another copy, I buy it and gift it as a VCLT. I think a St. Lawrence, a Young Hearts album.
Yeah, it's very nice of him. Good LP as well.
Yeah. So this is a kind of interest. Some people like go crazy when you have a collector who buys 2 copies of a record and says, I play one and I keep one sealed for whatever reasons. So some people say, okay, but you take away a copy from somebody who wanted or might want to listen. That's a very difficult discussion. to do.
Well, there's lots of people who buy 2 copies and then put one on Discogs at a very high price. I noticed that's something you see. But yeah, I should try. I need to start sharing the love, perhaps, and some things away, or giving them away, certainly.
So, I think everybody should collect the way they want. Some people do it this way, some people do another way. It's what it is. That's the great thing about the hobby.
Yeah.
So, do you not have another recommendation?
Do I have another recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, since I'm just as well. I wasn't too sure, but since Eve's here, I've got a record from Canada.
Oh.
So, and this is the group Sweet Blindness.
Sweet Blindness. Never heard of
music. You can no, they're not particularly well-known band, but they're pretty good. I mean, it's a sort of proper. It's a SoulDisco album. And again, from when's that? 76 again. Seems to be the year at the moment. And it's got some horrible songs on it, I have to say. But when it's good, it's really good. And it's got some nice ones. I think it has a slightly different cover in the Canadian.
I could swear I have seen that picture on the Dells record. I could swear, and it has.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same one. It's a stock picture that they've just put on this cover.
I could have sworn I've seen that picture. It's from the Dells record. I love the Dells record.
Yeah. No, it says it's Joel Brodsky portrait. He's quite a famous sort of rock photographer, isn't he? So I think they just had the stock image and put it on some albums. And yeah, because the Canadian one's slightly different, but it's good. It's even got a song on it, which is like a kind of poppy disco song, which is sort of in French, and it's called Quebec. So
oh wow, okay.
So they've got that going on it. There's quite a nice version of Ain't No Use by Stevie Wonder, which was sampled, so that's probably why it came to my attention. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember where I found this one, but yeah, there's some nice songs on it. When it's good, it's good.
Okay, which track do you want me to play?
Why don't you try Give It To You Right Now?
Give it to you right now. And sorry, the group was again because I was so
Sweet Blindness.
Sweet by the picture.
Yeah, it's not the Dells.
I have seen. I love the label TSG, and in the late 70s they did some. You can't pay these albums. If you want an original, if you find one, they start from 3,000 upwards.
Wow.
So yeah, and exactly, Robert, the Dells, we got to get our thing together, which is a great album. And I have been in a record store, and I was in front of some records who had the same cover art as these, and they were $5, and for a short moment of time I was in the state of shock that I might have found a 3,000 euro record for $5, but it was a stock picture. So I was like, what?
Yeah, there's certain labels or things, and you see them and your heart just stops for a moment, and then you realize no. Yeah.
So I thought about buying them anyway, and I said, no, come on, Nadine. So let's listen to Sweet Blindness. I'm sure that I have seen it.
If it's love that you're looking for, I'm gonna give it to you right now. Just a kiss or just a hug, I'm gonna give it to you right now. 'Cause I never knew no one love me the way that you do. That is why I'm gonna give it to you right now. I'm gonna trust and understand. I'm gonna give it to you right now. hold you and be your man. I'm gonna give it to you right now. 'Cause I never know. No one can.
Great selection, Lawrence.
Yes, I think Ed just said there, great bass. It sounds great. The record, the bass on it is really big, and it's nice. And it's actually, I've got the 7-inch of that as well, the 45, and it doesn't sound so good. That's another collecting thing. Getting to the 45s off the album, another weakness of mine.
I wouldn't even start that. I wouldn't even start it. UK people are, what I found out crazy about 45s. I've been to some festivals in the UK, and there were some 45 starting from £1,000.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, no. I never used to bother with them.
Point. That was not the cheap. That 1,000 was the cheap stuff for 45. And I was looking in front of this wall, and I said, you can buy a house from the amount of records and how much they are worth on this wall.
For a 7-inch?
7-inch starting £1,000, the starting price. And there wasn't.
That's crazy.
The most famous one, I think, was about £25,000 or something.
Oh,
so
my.
Sold one, and it gets sold every now and again, and it comes out in the news that they've sold this 45 because collectors pass it amongst themselves. But yeah, it's like 20 grand or something.
But why? Because there were not many, you know.
A lot of them only came out on 45, and if it's a particularly rare copy, then yeah.
Yeah, so the backstory of this 45, I always forget his name, was Will somebody. He was songwriter for Motown, and he released an album, and Barry Gordy said, hey, listen, I want to keep you as a songwriter and not as a singer. So the singles that pressed, that were taken off the market, so only a few of them were available, and I think this single, there are just 1, 2, or 3 copies available worldwide, so that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
It changes. Frank
Yeah.
Wilson, exactly. So and that was Frank Wilson. Thanks, Flip Disc. And that was this.
Yeah.
Good question, Michael. This is getting such a running joke. Yeah.
Not really. I'm not. Unfortunately, I don't have. You know, I'm not as lucky as Nadine, I guess.
This is 20 years of hard work behind my back.
I do have I've got lots of records which have been signed, but to other people. I bought them signed already. A lot of Latin LPs for some reason, but
that's great.
which is quite cool. But I wouldn't have the patience to hang around after a concert and wait for someone to sign anything.
I only have a few. I mean, albums that I've bought from the artist website, for instance, and they were, you know, kind enough to sign a copy for me, but not a lot. Not a lot.
I think I'd be too nervous to meet my heroes. I'd be disappointed. So yeah. I've never got them signed.
So it's always very important that you have somebody with you. It takes patience. You have to wait sometimes in hotels for 4 hours. And if that moment happens, you have to make sure that the person is with you is trained to make the photo. You know, I'm constantly picture every second. And now sign the pictures and then thanks and bye. You know, that's 20 years and many hours and hours waiting and all of this. So yeah.
But that's great. I mean, it's so impressive. I mean, I mean, your collection is so impressive. I mean, Nadine. So
well, thank you very much.
We're not laughing at you at all. I mean, it's a running joke, but we're just personally, I'm very impressed, man. I mean, wow. I mean,
yeah. But it takes time, and you know.
Yeah.
All right. I have to make recommendations, right? Yeah. I will do. I start with this one, and if you're into classic soul, this is just I'm constantly playing this record for the last couple of weeks now, and this is Smoke, and it's Rising. Getting an original copy is expensive. because back in the days it was near impossible to find. It was always like a mysterious album. People talked about it, but nobody really has seen it and all of this. But the songs on this is just fantastic. And there's a reissue by P-Vine, and it's about $30.
Okay.
They sell it between 30 to 80. I have also seen 100 for the P-Vine reissue, but it's $30. Don't pay more for it. It's $30.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is with the P-Vine reissue, they copied the record 100%. So a friend of mine got this record, and he thought he made the deal of his lifetime, and it had a sticker on it, original copy, and he paid, I think, $250. And he got home and he looked at the record and found there's the 3 points which point out that it's that's a reissue, that's some writing, and also they have on the back here a little, I hope you can see that, I'm sorry, a little copyright. Right? On his version, somebody put black tape on the bottom.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was so.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why you always have to be very careful. If you see, you think you have the grail of a lifetime, what you do is secure the record, take a deep breath, and look if I have the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
But this is just a tremendously good record, and I can only buy the reissue and like this, because this is starting from $100 upwards at the moment. So
yeah, the P-Vine reissues are really good generally, but they are expensive. I mean, here they're always at least £40 or more to get those.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
In Germany, I can buy it for €30, which is $30 at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, they're good, but I think they do needle drops. Yeah,
I think a lot of the stuff they do is so obscure. I don't know if they've got original tapes for it.
Yeah.
That's not the group Smoke who did a tune with Barry White.
No.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
That's okay. Not.
That's a very good tune, that one. But yeah.
Yeah. Also, Barry White is totally underrated. And so.
Yeah. No. He did. I think it's a group. I think they've only got one single with Barry White, and they're called Smoke, and it's the exact Barry White sound, and it's fantastic. It's one of those really rare ones, sadly. Just wondered if it was the same group.
Yeah. Also, Barry White released 2 singles before he. Under a different name before he became Barry White, and these one are also very difficult to get. So I would say I play from this album, Have I Really Lost You?
The familiar place that we first met. You say you don't remember, how could you forget? Have I really lost you, baby? Lost you. The familiar song that we used to sing. I remember the joy it brings. Now you barely speak to me. It's not what it used to be.
Whatever happened to the love we shared? Has it turned into smoke, fade into the air? Whatever happened to the vows we made? Did they mean anything? Did you mean what you said?
Suddenly, without warning, it happened. I come home and I find you packing. Whoa, baby, you hurt me right down to the bone. You said don't ask questions cause you won't explain. Just call your cab, you gotta catch that train. Oh, baby, you hurt me right down to the bone.
Oh, see these tears rolling down my cheeks. Oh, choked up, there's no words left to speak. A man without love, you know he might as well be dead. Girl, without your love, simply go out of my head. Have I really lost you, babe?
All right.
Nice.
Great vocals.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
And they don't make them like that anymore.
And the interesting part of this whole thing is the arranger of this was Benjamin Wright. Let me double check this. Yes, Benjamin Wright, and he was the musical director for Barry White, Aretha Franklin, The Temptations in 1975, and in 1978 to 1979 he did all the string arrangements for Michael Jackson's Off the Wall.
Oh.
Wow.
So, and the musicians on this album were the finest musicians. They were available at that time in Chicago. So this is
Pretty good then.
yeah, it's really good. It sounds rough. It's not as polished as Philadelphia International, but it's such a shame once again that nothing of these groups really.
Yeah.
They were so talented. That was way before autotune. You really had to sing and play an instrument. You really had to do that in the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Mm.
All right, my next recommendation is an album. I did a live stream with Michael 45 RPM about soul music, and I showed this record as well, and I got some messages. So later on, I will be doing a video about it. It was called the Blofeld. What is the villain of James Bond? Blofeld.
Yeah, Blofeld.
The guy with the cat who's in the chair, and yeah. So this is I'll make myself big. Hold on. This is Claude Francois.
Claude Francois. Yeah.
Claude Francois. Thanks for pointing. Claude Francois. And he was also the one who did the original version of My Way, and was co-writing the original and the white suit, and the cat, of course, the cat, and on the bass also the cat. Look at this.
Wow. I have to say, if I saw that in a record shop, I'd just flip past it quite happily.
But it also mentions disco.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's a disco track and what's not? So and he was the original composer of My Way, and Paul Anka heard the melody and he redid the song Comme d'habitude to My Way. And he is I can't describe how iconic Claude Francois is in France. He had a career from the 60s throughout the 70s. He kind of covered American songs from the Temptations to make French lyrics onto them, and also did his own stuff. And this one was released in December 1977. It was at the peak of his career. And in March of 1978, he had the interesting idea to repair a lamp while he was taking a bath.
Nope. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, that really happened. Yeah, that's
how we died. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, we play a track from this album which is called Alexandra. I hope I spelled that correct. And yeah, this was actually the single which came out at the day of his funeral. So and he was being told that he was the guy who brought disco to France, which is, in my opinion, not really correct. But if we play that with a music video, you're gonna. Oh, please remember, it were the 70s. Yes, have mercy with me. Have mercy.
Times.
So.
Voile sur les filles, barque sur le Nil. Je suis dans ta vie, je suis dans tes bras. Alexandra, Alexandrie, Alexandrie où l'amour danse avec la nuit. J'ai plus d'appétit qu'un barracuda. Je boirai tout le Nil si tu ne me retiens pas. Je boirai tout le Nil si tu ne me retiens pas. Alexandrie, Alexandra, Alexandrie où l'amour danse au fond des draps. Ce soir j'ai de la fièvre et toi tu meurs de froid. Les sirènes du port d'Alexandrie chantent encore la même mélodie.
come on.
I just
Wow.
love the choreography. It's amazing. I love it.
When he turns around and shows his butt, that's my favorite move.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't think Beyonce will be using him for inspiration, perhaps. There's some unique moves there, definitely.
Yeah, but it's a great record, and he also does a fantastic version of "And I Love You So" from Don McLean in French, and
he was huge in France, huge. Claude Francois, oh my God, yeah.
He also did. I show you one more. Come on, Magnolias. Magnolias Are Forever, which was also he did just because of the dance moves. Hold on for a second. The dance moves were just fantastic. Hold on. He did some appearances on TV. So yeah. Yeah, let's start with this one. Look at the dresses. Look.
Girl is crying in the night. Is she wrong or is she right?
Je ne peux plus rien y faire.
Your girl is shining in the night. Burning, burning, burning bright.
Je ne sais plus comment faire. Dites-lui que je suis comme elle, que j'aime toujours les chansons qui parlent d'amour et d'hirondelles, de chagrin, de vent et de frissons. Dites-lui que je pense à elle.
Come on, you would be king in every disco.
That's a way to make an entrance, isn't
it?
My.
I love the first one when they're touching all his face.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
But this is just, you get it very cheap, and it's a great.
Well, it's invigorating in the morning, I imagine. Something
Great.
like that.
Okay. I mean, seriously, that's more 70s. You can't get more 70s.
No.
And this thing sold like crazy, and he was taking a bath. And the first song we've heard, like I said, was released as a single at the day on his funeral. They had taste back in those days.
Well, no, that's one of the joys of collecting 70s records as well, is the fashions, because you get some great looks. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have some room for questions asked. There is one from Dr. Winston O'Boogie. I have some questions later, if that's okay. So that would be the time, Doc, to ask your questions about reggae music.
Okay.
You can go ahead. If you have some other questions, we will be delighted. If you have some suggestions for the next stream, like show your best disco record where people have the best costumes, we can't do this anymore because and I should need.
You found your winner already, haven't you?
Yeah. So all right. So where Bobby Jones and New Life, I'm Somebody. Give it a spin, please. All right. While we wait for Doc to answer, to write down the questions. So I have to remove Claude Francois. What is this? How is it spelled? Francois? Claude Francois? Francois. Claude Francois. I Am Somebody by Bobby Jones. All right. All right, that was
passing me by so fast I wasn't moving at all. I looked in the mirror and said to myself.
All right, Bobby.
Very nice.
Bobby. That was great. Thanks for pointing that out. Flip this.
I was thinking Glenn Jones does exactly the same song. I don't know if he's related, but Glenn Jones has a version of that song, and it's really good. But I don't know the Bobby Jones version. Nice.
Yeah. And yes, the ladies in the background were the Claudettes. They were ever changing lineups, and the same as Ike and Tina Dirt with the iCats, and they had some successful records, the Claudette. All right, so Lawrence, do you have any Jamaican reggae pressings?
I have some, but most of the records I have are actually British records made by British artists, a lot of them, from sort of the late 70s, early 80s. I do have some Jamaican pressings. I mean, Jamaican pressings are quite fun because they tend to be of varying quality. I've got quite a lot of Jamaican pressings of soul tunes as well, which is quite unusual. But because you get a lot of collectors or sound systems, particularly here in London, and got a lot of their records from Jamaica, I've got quite a few 45s of like Denise Williams and things like that on printed, which are pressed in Jamaica. And then, but the Jamaican reggae, you can get it. There's quite a lot here, and a lot of the shops do have it. And there's, that's where you start hearing about people paying £1,000 for a record and things like that, the rare studio ones. But it's one of those things where I love listening to the sort of Jamaican reggae, but you have to put a limit, because I know if I got well into it, I could go down a rabbit hole and never emerge. Just emerge emaciated and starving probably. But yeah, I do like, I mean, when there's a tune that I really like, then I do try and get it, and it's nice if you can get a Jamaican version. Although quite often if you get a British 12-inch, the quality tends to be better because they're quite indestructible reggae 12 inches. You can step on them and all sorts of things and they still play fine. So I usually go for that if I can, but whatever's there.
Yeah, there's a new reissue of Bob Marley records coming out of Jamaica, and there are very mixed reviews about this. They have, as far as I understood, a whole new pressing plant in Jamaica, but the quality of the records is still not so good. So they are warped, scratched. And
I mean, traditionally, Jamaican records were a bit like that, because you could tell a lot of the time. You can see a Jamaican record often has sort of little knobbles in it and things like that. And a lot of the vinyl is recycled because it's a tiny little island, and the amount of records being produced is just crazy. But I think they stopped pressing records there sometime in the early 2000s, I think, because they were still doing it up when I was getting a lot more reggae music then. But yeah, interesting that they've tried to do it again, but seems to have the same old problems, perhaps.
I don't have a disco ball. I wish I would have one, but I'm always afraid that it falls on my head. And I wouldn't even know where to get one to begin with. All right. Are you into heavy dub reggae?
Not especially. Again, like the reggae I have is just a small part of things, and a lot of the reggae I have is because of soul music. Like I knew the soul version, so I found the reggae version, or the other way around. I heard the reggae version and that way found the soul version of the song. But dub, like proper heavy dub, I know John, the 6-inch pianist, Doug from Canada, all those people, they're a lot more expert on that than I am, I think, definitely.
All right. So Michael is having a disco ball. I'm a little jealous.
I think I saw a question before.
Yes.
Do you dance? Do either of you dance?
Yes. Yes, sure. You should see Eve dancing. She is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Look at the music she chooses. She can't. She must have been a tremendously good dancer. For me, it looks like I'm pointing to a car accident when I'm dancing. Believe me. When I'm I'm in disco, I'm always sitting and doing something with my arms, so it looks like I'm kind of engaged.
Yeah, I do that sort of thing, like moving my body in a way that isn't dancing, but it's not dancing.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, you always find me at the bar when I'm like, hey, ho, another drink, please. Hey, yeah, I see you, ho, yeah.
Yeah. That said, because my wife's from Colombia, pretty much every year we try and go over, and that is my one annual time of dancing properly. And people are very nice and polite about it, but I'm not very good at it, to be honest. But there, you have to dance. There's no escaping it. So
but at least
you can't beat them, join them.
All right, everybody. So if there aren't any more questions, I would say we wrap it up at around 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is quite a long stream. And once again, a big thank you, Lawrence, that you took the time being our special guest. Enjoyed it very much. Eve, I'm so relieved and happy that you could make it. And okay, one final question, Doc.
Of course, I do. Mostly rock. Mostly, I got introduced to metal a bit, like a few years ago, but mostly rock than metal.
Yeah, I'm also more into rock. I like Guns N' Roses. I like Whitesnake. I like the Scorpions, Black Sabbath, the first album. So I'm kind of into that. So yeah.
Pretty good. I've got a whole collection actually of rock, but it's not mine. They're my wife's. She's well into heavy metal, yeah. So that's what she gets, and rock. And when we've been at record fairs, she always gets annoyed with me because she ends up spending loads of money on like Metallica records and things like that. They're expensive. You think soul music's expensive? Rock's really expensive. Yeah.
Rock, jazz, it's going through the roof. Yeah. Really, I'm not even bothering going to the jazz section. Even if I like some jazz music, I'm not going there because my record dealer said he had usually jazz records which were 10 to 15 bucks. They are now 75.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what? Wow. And they're beaten up as hell. And thanks.
Yeah, no, even there's a guy on Instagram or something. He's always sort of doing things about auctions of jazz records on eBay, and the prices are just insane. Like for over $1,000 or whatever. It's just absolute madness for a lot of jazz records. No, couldn't go there, I don't think.
All right, everybody. So thanks for watching. We wrap it up here now. And once again, a big thank you for each and every one of you who was watching and who enjoyed this. The time was flying by. I just think we just started the stream. So enjoyed it very much.
Great.
So have a great weekend.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Okay, guys, I'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.